Hello everyone and welcome to our series of lives. I hope you are feeling well today, that you have your cup of coffee or tea ready. I may say that we may have the guest appearance of my cat today because she's really active and she also would get some knowledge. So if you see my cat on the camera, don't be worried. As always, I have my phone on me, so I see all of your comments. If you have any problems with sound on video, just let me know. And also, if you have any questions, you can just ask them during the live, and I will try to answer them all as soon as possible. Okay, I think we can go to the presentation as always. So you should probably know that our today's topic is how long should the online product development last? So our agenda for today, we will start from the introduction, then we will talk about how long should the development last. We'll talk later about stages of development, and at the end how to avoid delays in your project development. And of course for the end we'll have Q&A session, so if you'll have any questions, that will be the time to ask them. Okay, so who are we and why we have decided to do this live? Of course, you should know that we are a software house, and this live will be like a sum up of our series. Of course, we are not going anywhere. We will be doing our lives as always once a week, but we think that the topics that we talk about before, we think that there's a lot of knowledge that we gave you, and we think that for now it's enough. Of course, if you'll have any questions about previous lives, about previous topics, you can always ask them. But right now we want to try something else. The next series will be series that I will do with the help of our Scrum Master. So it can be something for the companies that are working on the projects and how to organize them, but also for the people that are looking for a software house. It's always good to know how your software house works and how it should work to be sure that you're getting the best work done. Okay, so let's start from how long should the development last. The right answer is for an infinity. Why is that? Of course, we talked about the MVP, the product design workshop, and I told you how long it should last. And this is like the first step to launch your product. But basically, if you want to have good quality product that your users will like to use, that they will be happy with how it works, you need to constantly work on your product. So I thought that maybe we can just separate each stage of product development, and we can talk about each stage separately. We can talk about how much time each stage should take, so it will be easier for you than just know that you should always work on your product. Okay, so first stage is your idea. How long it should last? It's up to you. When you get the idea, of course, you can come to us with the idea and we can help you with everything. But remember that it's still the time that we bill you for. So if you have more information ready before you come to us, it's less time that we need to spend on discovering your idea with you. So the time that you should spend depends mostly on you. Because if you know right away what is your target group, how you want to launch your product, what marketing should you do, this is something great, and it may last even one day if you get the idea. But if you have the idea but you're not sure how the market would react, if the people like it or not, maybe you should start from doing the research, or maybe you should start asking people if do they need the product that you're working on. So basically take your time, be sure that your product will be a success, and find as much information as you can about how you want to start it, how it works, Basically, you should also know step by step how the features should work, because this is something we can work with you on, but we always think that this is something that the customer needs to know. We can give you some advices, but it's always your business decision, because you're in touch with your customers, you did the market research, so you probably know the best how the app should work. So in that case, we would be able to help you from the technical side. Maybe if there will be any risks, we can tell you about them, but you should know how the app should work, and probably also how do you want to market it, and if people actually want to use the app. The next stage is, especially in our case, the product design workshop. We talked about it before, so if you want to get more information, on our website in the blog section you can see this post that I've put here, so you will find the link to the live there, and also the presentation I used. But the product design workshop is the stage that should last like 1 or 2 days. We usually are able to do it in 1 day. But if the project is bigger, if there is a lot more to talk about, we are able to give you the second day. And as we already spoke during the product design workshop, we start from defining your business model canvas. So we talk about your target group. We may be able to help you with the marketing, but this is something you should think about before, and we can give you advices so you can decide on your own. But the first step, like the research on the project, it should be on your side. Also, during the product design workshop, we focus on preparing the roadmap for you, so it's easier to plan some marketing actions, to maybe talk to the investors. If you know that, for example, after 2 weeks you will have the prototype of the app that they can use, they can touch, they can see how it will work, it will be easier for you to schedule a call with your investors, because you will know that you have something to show them. Beside the roadmap, we also work on the mockups. They're just like the basic mockups, but from them you know how the app will work step by step. Okay, my cat is going crazy. Sorry for that if it will be a little bit loud, but I see that's her playtime. So yeah. When we create the mockups for you, you see step-by-step view of your app. Is it mobile, web app? We can do it for both. And you see all the features that will be in there and how it will work. Based on that, we create the user stories that will tell us how exactly users will use the app. So we are not focusing on the login feature. We are thinking from the other side. So we are thinking, okay, as a user, I want to log in using the email and the password, and I want to get the access to the users panel. So this is how we think about the app. This is how we get to know your idea, because if you just say you want the user to log in, there are so many ways that we can do it that we'll probably don't know how to do it, and we would need to spend more time with you on defining how the app should work. So this process is designed so you get to know your product better, and also we get to know it to the level that you know it. And of course, at the end of the product design workshop, we are able to estimate how much time each feature will last, how much time it will take us to prepare it for you. And based on that, we are creating the cost estimation. The next step, if we are finished with the product design workshop, is the proof of concept or prototype. So this is the stage that should last like 1 week or 2 weeks, not more, because we are focusing on releasing the product on the market as soon as possible. So the proof of concept stage is basically the stage where we are able to check if our ideas are doable. So for example, if we see that there's some integration that you want to use and maybe no one ever did it, and for example, we have the API key, but we are not able, if we can get this information that you need for your app. This is the time that we take to actually check if we can create what you expect. If there is no way to use it in the way you expect us, also we have the time to check other solutions on the market, to check how we can achieve the goal that you set. So basically, after the time of proof of concept, you get the confirmation that all of your ideas are doable. So you know that we are able to provide you with the product you expect us to provide. During the proof of concept, usually we are able to prepare something like a prototype. Of course, based on the kind of project, because sometimes the proof of concept is only the raw code that we create to check if the features are working. But also, sometimes we are able to prepare the prototype. You cannot see this, but my cat is going crazy and I don't know what's happening. So if you see me deconcentrate for a moment, it is because of her. So yeah, the prototype, we may be able to create the prototype in the beginning. So for example, you can show it to your investors, or the prototype will be the result of the proof of concept. Of course, as I said, it's based on the project. So when we tell you that we are working on the proof of concept, you will get the information what will be the result of this work. So before you decide to do it, you actually know what you will get after that. Of course, after the proof of concept, that may be a situation that before we don't have the product backlog ready, because the product backlog may be also a result of the proof of concept. So if we check if we can do it, then based on that, we are building our tasks, because we can build you the task for several ways that we may be going, but there's a time that we go to waste because we will take only the one direction. So we basically leave the designing product backlog part for the end of the proof of concept. So we are sure that what we are showing you is the actual way that we'll take. Of course, when we create the prototype, there's also a time to create the mockups that will be usable. So for example, if you have the whole app and we are creating the usable mockups, you will get step by step how the app will work, also with the designs. So maybe the app will not take any actions after clicking submit or something like this, but you can go through all the views and you'll see how we are changing when you press this and this button. So this is also something you can show to your investors. And when you get these mockups, it's always good to gather the feedback, because if we didn't design the features, like we didn't code it yet, it's really easy to change the way that app will work. So if you, for example, get a feedback from a user that this feature is not necessary, but instead of this feature, you should create something else, we can still do it, because it's only the design that are working together. There's no feature behind it built yet. So it's really easy to change the plan that will work on. Okay, and the next step is the MVP step. We also talked about it before, so as with the product design workshop, you can find it in our blog section. But of course, I will tell you more about it here, so we don't have to go back. So the MVP should last from 2 to 3 months, where 3 months, I think it's still a lot of time. When we are building with you the product backlog, we are focusing also on defining which features are necessary for the app to exist. Also, which features are different from the other solutions on the market, because if you're creating the solution that already exists on the market, there's something that needs to show that your solution will be better. So based on that, we are creating our product backlog for MVP. Of course, you'll have a lot more ideas, and the ideas may be great, but also the ideas may be complicated, and they may not be that necessary for the first stage. So our goal with the MVP is to release it as soon as possible, because if we'll release it, you can get valuable feedback from your users. Also, you can start to earn money on it. You can start to build your sales plan, because if you get the feedback, you know how much user will pay for it. So you know how your sales team should operate to sell your solution. So the ideal time to release the MVP is 1 month. I've also been in the situation that our customers actually used ready solutions to check on the market if people would be interested in solution that they want to create. So they actually didn't build anything when they released the MVP version. They used the solutions gathered from the market, and they asked people, okay, so do you like it? Do you want us to do it? And when they get the yes, they decided to build the product. So I think this is the great approach to the MVP, because MVP says that MVP stands for the minimal viable product. So you get people as minimal as you can with the minimal cost to check actually if your idea is needed on the market, if you will earn money on it. So of course the MVP should have a great quality, because you will not acquire the users if you will have the product that will be full of bugs and need fixing a lot. But of course you need to be prepared for some bugs, because even if we have the testers on board, and even if there's like a lot of beta testers that are testing the app, there's always some edge cases that you'll not predict, that people are working in the really strange ways, and you imagine that people will go for this feature, they will press this button and put this information, and then you put the app on the market and you see that there are so many ways that you can use the app, and we are not able to cover all the edge cases. So you need to know that the bugs will appear. Even if you'll create a great quality product, the bugs will appear. So just be open for the feedback from your customers, because they will inform you about all the problems that they have, and you'll have a chance to fix them. And especially when you tell people that this is like the beta product or the first version, they are really open to work with you on your app, because if you show them that you're building the app for them, that they have a saying in what direction the app should go, what they actually need, you'll get a really great group of engaged users that will actually work for free, or actually they will be paying you to work with you. I had this situation in my previous jobs when we had a product and people were paying us for this product, and we didn't have a team to discover more features. I, as a salesperson, was talking to people, and they were telling me, okay, maybe you should do this and this feature. So we just checked if we are able to do it, and we created. So we have like our whole discovery team of paying customers. So you can put on the market your product even with one main feature and work from that. Start earning money, and this money you can spend on your dev team or your software house to develop the product further. Okay, and the further development, this is the stage where the time is forever. Why it is forever? Because first of all, the code that we are writing, the code needs to be constantly updated. For example, our developers, when they work in the project, each time they go into the code, they are updating all the libraries, all the parts of the code that are actually older than they should be. In the IT world, you're basically using a lot of ready models that you're just adjusting to your features, to your product. And those models, those libraries are constantly changing because there's some developer in the world who created it. But when the language that we are using to develop the app is actually developing more, they are making changes. And if you will not work on the code, if your team will not update the code constantly, in 4 or 5 years or even sooner, you will ask someone to change one thing in your app, and then you will hear that there is no sense in changing the one thing. You need to create the app from the beginning, because the code you had is so old that changing the code to new will take you probably the same amount of time as creating the app again. And developers really don't like to work in the old code. Probably you also will have the new team, because developers usually change the work a lot. So probably you will not have the same team. So if the new developer needs to go to the old code written by someone else, he'll just resign. He wants to just rewrite the code. And if the code will be updated, if, for example, the one developer will go to other companies, before he will go, he can teach the new developer what's in the code. So actually you save money on spending money on updating the code. Like when you look on the bigger picture, it will cost you less to have someone working on the code constantly than have someone in 5 years to just rewrite the code. Also, as I said, there will be bugs. There's always bugs. It's like the living organism, your app. Maybe it is a thing in the internet that is just a code, but basically in how much the IT world is changing, your product needs to change too. And with these changes, they may occur some more bugs, and you need to be prepared for that. So you also need to be constantly checking your app for the bugs, the feedback from the users, if everything is working, and you need to spend time on fixing these bugs. And also we need to add new features. If your product will be successful, even if it will be just this unique product on the market, you can be sure that there will be like a copycat who will copy your product and will start to add new features. So if you will not do it, if you will not get the feedback from your users, if you will not know what they need more, you'll probably stay behind, and your competitors will steal your users. So as you can see, even when you finish the MVP version, even when you finish the second or third version with the features that you planned on from the beginning, but we told you, no, it's something you should do later, right now you should only focus on the necessary features, then even if you finish with all the features that you planned, you still need to work on more. You still need to fix the bugs, you still need to come up with the new features, and you still need to update your code. So just to sum up, the development of the app lasts forever, unless you decide that you don't want to earn money on the app no more. Okay, and for the end, how to avoid delays. First of all, have priorities. If you have priorities, that will be nothing distracting you. Like if you know that, first of all, you need to launch the product as soon as possible, you know what features are the most important for you, and you focus on that, even if there will be the small setback, you will be still focused on your priorities, and I'm sure that you'll be able to meet your goals. Also avoid bad habits in the IT projects. So we could spend the whole life on talking about bad habits, but if you want to know what they are, you basically just need to go through all of our lives. I think this is something that each one of you that wants to start developing the app should watch, because the knowledge we are giving you is the knowledge that you will not get from any book, you will not get from any blog post. We are just sharing our experience with you, and we are also telling in each live about the problems we had, the problems we solved, and we are telling you how to avoid them. So yeah, we will not be focusing right now on what those habits are, but if you'll watch all the lives, you will for sure know what to avoid, even if you're not a technical person, because all of this information I try to just give you in the way that everyone will understand. Also, leave the waterfall behind and dive into agile. So this is the subject connected to the topic of time and material, all fixed price. So the waterfall basically means that you set up your budget and your tasks, like the whole product backlog, so how the app should work at the beginning, and you stay with it. You basically make no changes. You are not checking how the progress is going. You're just waiting for the ready product. And probably it will be a delay with the work. Usually with the waterfall, it happens because you don't have the knowledge on what's going on in the project. When we are working agile, you basically know each day what happened, maybe which task takes more time than it should. So you can just adjust your plan. You know that, okay, if this task is taking us 10 hours and it should take us 5 hours, so maybe we can resign from this task. Maybe we can do another feature so we can still launch our product in time. And in this case, you also have great control on your budget, because when we work agile, we usually work in time and material model. So basically, you're paying like mostly like each week or each 2 weeks for the time that we spend on building your app. So you actually know how much you will pay each week based on what was done, and you also see the progress. So you're not waiting a year or something for ready product and then you get the information that you need more time. You're seeing what's going on each day, and you can plan everything based on that. And the last tip, go for cheaper, easier, and more productive. Don't spend a lot of money, especially on the MVP stage. If you have more users, if you know that the direction is right, you can invest in the most expensive solutions if you know that it will build the value of your product. But for the beginning, focus on the cheap solution, the easier one, and this way you'll get your results really fast, and you'll not burn your budget. Okay, so from the tips, I think it's all. So as I said before, we are starting next week new series. Our Scrum Master is helping me to prepare the content. He is actually too busy to spend the time on building the presentation, building the content, and being on the live. So I can say that there's a lot of jokes about Scrum Masters and how we do nothing. So our is not the one from the jokes. He's doing actually everything, and he's doing a great job. So we think that there's a time to share his knowledge, show you how he's working on organizing our projects and how he gets his results. So yes, I'm working on the content with him. I will be speaking on his behalf. So I'm not leaving you. But of course, if there will be something that you will want to know more than I will share with you, he will be the one to answer your questions. So be prepared for meeting Piotrek. Okay, so if you have any questions right now, just ask them in the comment sections. If you don't have any questions right now, or you're watching this later, you can just email us at info@gmi.com. And we are always watching this mailbox, so we are trying to answer as soon as possible. Okay, I will wait like a minute to see if there is anything you want to ask, and if not, we'll be finishing this live. And I hope you got the knowledge you need. As I said before, I would like to encourage you to watch our previous lives, because this one is like a sum up of our series. So basically here we touched some subjects that were talked through before. So for example, if you want to know about the producting workshop or creating the MVP, there's more about it. And we already have the material about it. If you just go to our website, gmi.software, and go to the blog section, there is the each live posted with the presentation and with the link to our YouTube channel. Okay, I see there is no questions right now. So remember that you can always contact us, and see you next week with the new series and the new knowledge. Bye.